My child, there are seasons of life that do not wound you because of what happened, but because of what did not happen. No answer came when you expected one. No door opened when your heart was ready to walk through it. No voice interrupted the silence the way you hoped it would. You kept waiting for a clear sign, a sudden shift, a visible rescue, something unmistakable that would make the road feel simple again. But instead, you found yourself in a stretch of life where everything felt dim, not ruined, not fully broken, just dim. Harder to read, harder to interpret, harder to trust. That kind of darkness can become exhausting. It makes normal decisions feel heavy. It makes simple delays feel personal. It makes your mind search for explanations, because uncertainty is rarely quiet inside a human heart. You began asking questions you never thought would become so persistent. Did I miss something? Did I misunderstand the season? Did I hear wrong? Am I falling behind? Has God gone silent? Why does everything feel harder to read than it used to? I want to speak gently into that place today, because what you call darkness may not be what you thought it was. You assumed the absence of clarity meant the absence of my hand. You assumed the dimness meant distance. You assumed the silence meant disapproval, or delay without purpose, or a kind of spiritual emptiness where nothing meaningful could possibly be happening. But I need you to hear me clearly. You were not left in the dark. I was teaching you to see differently. There is a kind of sight you develop only when visible certainty is removed. There is a kind of perception that can never grow while your soul is still leaning on constant proof. There is a kind of discernment that is born not in bright moments, but in hidden ones, when the old ways of interpreting life begin to fail, and the deeper life of trust must slowly emerge. That process feels uncomfortable because you were used to reading your life by easier measurements. You measured by speed, by response, by visible movement, by emotional confirmation, by whether doors opened fast enough to calm your mind, by whether peace arrived before pressure, by whether your plans unfolded the way your effort said they should. But those measurements were never strong enough to carry your whole life. They worked for a while because bright seasons are easier to interpret. When everything is obvious, you do not need much depth to feel steady. When the road is clear, you do not have to learn what trust sounds like under pressure. When the answer is immediate, you do not have to examine how dependent your peace has become on visible outcomes. But once the light changes, once certainty softens, once the map grows unclear, you discover whether your soul knows how to live by more than surface evidence. This is where you have been living. And this is why the season has felt so exposing. It exposed how deeply you depended on immediate clarity. It exposed how quickly fear filled in the blanks when answers took too long. It exposed how often your imagination became louder than your faith. It exposed how much of your confidence had been tied to knowing what came next. That exposure was not meant to shame you. It was meant to free you. Because if your peace only survives in bright conditions, then your peace is too fragile for the life I am calling you into. If your trust only holds while outcomes stay readable, then your trust still needs deeper roots. If your confidence rises and falls entirely with visible signs, then you are more vulnerable to confusion than I want you to be. So I allowed a season where your usual way of seeing would no longer be enough. Not to harm you, not to humiliate you, not to ignore your prayers, but to lead you beneath the surface of your old dependence. My child, many people want direction, but very few want transformation in the way they perceive. They want instructions without surrender. They want signs without inner renewal. They want clarity without the slow purification of motives, fears, habits, and assumptions. But I care about more than getting you to the next place. I care about what kind of person arrives there. That is why some of my deepest work happens while you are still asking why things feel dim. In dim seasons, you begin discovering what truly governs your inner life. When everything is obvious, it is easy to appear trusting. When everything is uncertain, what really rules your reactions becomes impossible to hide. If fear rules you, uncertainty multiplies it. If pride rules you, delay offends it. If control rules you, silence agitates it. If performance rules you, hidden seasons exhaust it. If comparison rules you, other people's progress becomes painful to witness. But if my spirit begins ruling you more deeply, even dim seasons become holy classrooms. That does not mean they become easy. It means they become meaningful. You are not in a meaningless season. The confusion has not been meaningless. The waiting has not been meaningless. The unanswered questions have not been meaningless. Even the inner ache of not knowing has not been meaningless. You have been learning to separate what is loud from what is true. That lesson matters because many voices compete for your attention in darkened seasons. Your fear speaks. Your disappointment speaks. Your memory speaks. Other people's urgency speaks. The need to fix, explain, predict, and control speaks. Every unresolved thing tries to become a narrator, and if you do not learn how to see differently, you begin mistaking volume for wisdom. But wisdom is rarely the loudest voice in the room. Truth does not always rush. My guidance does not always flatter your anxiety, and real spiritual perception often grows quieter before it grows clearer. This is why the season has slowed you down. You wanted an answer. I wanted your attention. You wanted immediate direction. I wanted deeper formation. You wanted the road to brighten quickly. I wanted your eyes to adjust to a different kind of light. There is natural sight, and there is spiritual sight. Natural sight reads what is visible. Spiritual sight discerns what is being formed. Natural sight reacts to circumstances. Spiritual sight asks what heaven is doing beneath them. Natural sight panics when the pattern disappears. Spiritual sight stays lower, slower, more attentive, less impressed by noise. I have been training that second kind of sight in you. At first, you resisted it. You kept trying to force the old methods to work. You replayed conversations. You overanalyzed closed doors. You chased certainty through overthinking. You looked for reassurance in all the places that had once calmed you. And for a while, all of that only made you more tired. That tiredness was a turning point, because eventually your soul reaches the edge of self-generated clarity. Eventually your mind grows weary of trying to illuminate tomorrow with fear-driven effort. Eventually you realize that control is a poor substitute for peace. Eventually you become too tired to keep manufacturing meaning from every shadow. That is when surrender begins maturing. Surrender is not giving up on life. It is giving up on the illusion that anxiety can guide you better than God. That illusion had to break. I know it felt personal when things stayed unclear. I know it felt painful when others seemed to move faster. I know it was difficult watching plans lose shape. I know there were moments when the silence in your life felt heavier than the noise around you. But I was not absent in any of it. I was teaching you not to worship readability. Many people do. They do not realize it. but they are devoted to understanding everything quickly. They feel safe only when life makes obvious sense. They trust only what can be mapped, named, and measured. The moment mystery enters, their peace collapses, because they built stability on comprehension rather than on God. But my child, you cannot follow me deeply if your heart only accepts what it can instantly explain. Some roads will require faith before they offer interpretation. Some prayers will be answered in ways you could not have recognized at the beginning. Some closed doors will make sense only after you are standing far enough away to see what they were protecting you from. Some seasons will not reveal their purpose until the version of you who needed that lesson finally exists. That is why haste would have hurt this process. If everything had brightened too soon, you would have missed what the dimness came to reveal. You would have missed how easily fear narrates silence. You would have missed how restless your soul had become. You would have missed how quickly you reached for control. You would have missed how much you depended on emotional certainty to feel spiritually secure. You would have missed how much of your identity had become entangled with forward momentum. Now you can see it, and now I can heal it. Healing perception is holy work. It means learning not to call every silence a rejection. It means learning not to call every delay a denial. It means learning not to call every uncomfortable season a wrong one. It means learning not to read your whole future through today's fatigue. It means learning that dimness can still contain direction. Have you noticed how different your prayers have become? They are less polished now, less performative, less obsessed with timelines, less eager to impress, more honest, more broken open, more direct, more real. That change did not come from a bright season. It came from the dim one. Have you noticed how differently you now hear urgency? It still knocks on your mind, but you no longer trust it automatically. You have felt the cost of forcing. You have seen the emptiness of decisions made simply to escape discomfort. You have learned that speed is not always wisdom, and noise is not always guidance. That change came from the dim season too. Have you noticed how your compassion has deepened? Before, you might have rushed people toward neat answers. Now you understand how heavy confusion can feel. You understand what it means to keep walking while carrying unanswered questions. You understand what it means to smile outwardly while inwardly longing for one clear word from heaven. That tenderness in you is not accidental. It was formed where certainty was thin. The darkness you feared was not empty. It was formative. But let me say something else you need to hear. Seeing differently does not mean calling pain good. It means refusing to waste it. I know some moments in this season truly hurt. I know some losses were real. I know some hopes had to die. I know some doors closing left more than inconvenience behind. They left grief. They left disorientation. They left the ache of a version of life you thought you were nearing. I do not minimize any of that. Yet even there, I was teaching you how to mourn without losing yourself, teaching you how to stay open without staying naive, teaching you how to release what you loved without turning bitter, teaching you how to wait without becoming spiritually numb, teaching you how to let disappointment refine your dependence rather than poison your faith. This is why your story is not smaller because of this season. It is becoming deeper. Deep people are rarely made in easy clarity. They are made where faith has to breathe in narrow places. They are made where the heart cannot rely on adrenaline. They are made where character is formed in obscurity. They are made where trust stops being a slogan and becomes survival. That is what has been happening in you. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not dramatically, maybe not on a timeline that flatters your emotions, but steadily, steadily, I have been detaching you from the need to interpret everything instantly. Steadily, I have been training your spirit to stay awake when your feelings feel cloudy. Steadily, I have been making you less reactive. Steadily, I have been showing you that peace is not the reward for knowing everything. Peace is the fruit of staying near me while not knowing everything. That truth will protect you in the future, because not every new season will come with immediate explanations. Not every calling will arrive with easy validation. Not every important step will feel obvious at first. You will need the kind of sight that can remain steady when conditions are mixed. You are learning that now, learning to notice what carries my peace and what only carries intensity. Learning to distinguish conviction from panic. Learning to tell the difference between a closed door and a door you are trying to kick open before the right time. Learning to let quiet be quiet without forcing it to become bad news. Learning to let questions exist without allowing them to become masters. This is mature vision, and mature vision is far more valuable than fast answers. Fast answers can comfort you for a moment. Mature vision can preserve you for years. Fast answers can calm surface tension. Mature vision can keep you from entering the wrong room simply because you were tired of waiting outside. Fast answers can satisfy curiosity. Mature vision can save your calling from the damage of premature choices. My child, I know you wanted brighter days. They will come. I know you wanted the path to feel easier to read. There will be moments of that too, but do not rush past what this season has been teaching you. The person who emerges from dim places with clearer inward sight is stronger than the person who only knows how to move when everything is visible. The person who learns to hear God beneath the noise becomes harder to manipulate. The person who learns to stay soft in uncertainty becomes capable of carrying weight without losing tenderness. The person who no longer worships immediate clarity becomes free enough to follow God into places that look unimpressive at first, but contain real calling. That freedom is growing in you. And one day you will look back and realize that what frightened you most about this season was not the darkness itself, but the loss of your old way of seeing. You will realize you were grieving a method that no longer served your future. You will realize heaven was not punishing you by dimming the path. Heaven was inviting you into a deeper way of walking. You no longer need everything to be bright in order to take the next faithful step. That is growth. That is grace. That is spiritual maturity. So if you are tired today, rest. If you are confused, breathe. If your mind wants to force meaning from every shadow, slow down. You do not need to solve your entire life tonight. You do not need to understand every silence before the morning comes. You do not need to manufacture certainty to prove you still believe. You only need to stay near me long enough for your eyes to keep adjusting, because I am still leading, still forming, still protecting, still speaking, still preparing what you cannot yet fully interpret. And when the path brightens again, you will not simply be relieved. You will be changed. You will see more honestly. You will react less impulsively. You will move with more depth. You will carry less fear into uncertainty. You will know the difference between what shines and what is true. That is what this season came to give you. Let me pray for you. Father, for the one listening who feels surrounded by confusion, bring holy calm. Where their mind has been overworking, bring rest. Where fear has interpreted silence as abandonment, bring truth. Where delay has made them question their worth, bring assurance. Train their eyes to see what matters. Teach them to recognize your peace even when the road is not fully visible. Free them from worshiping immediate clarity. Deepen their trust. Strengthen their inner life. And let the dim places become the ground where a wiser, steadier, more spiritually awake person is formed. In Jesus' name, amen. My child, you are not left in the dark. I was teaching you to see differently. And when the next season opens, you will understand why this deeper sight was worth more than the quick answer you thought you needed.